Sports 360 AZ on the road in Stillwater. Just watched a very hard-fought battle between Oklahoma State and ASU. Thanks so much to Santan Ford for helping us get out here. Alongside Eric Sorensen, I'm Jordan Ham. And Eric, the Cowboys take care of business, 34-17 victory, and it was really Spencer Sanders getting things going in the second half and beating the Sun Devils through the air and on the ground.
Yeah, for Mike Gundy, it must be nice to have not just a fifth-year senior, but a 4-year starting quarterback playing a home game against a Power 5 school like ASU. He did not just enough, but he had a solid game, 320-ish total yards, but he made the plays when they were presented. And most importantly, Jordan, when ASU made a defensive lapse, he made him pay. He made him pay.
He didn't get off to a good start. The Oklahoma State offense did not get off to a good start. They started the game 4 punts and an interception, but there was a turning point in the second quarter. Valade fumbles the football, and it was a freaky hit where he got hit, but he landed on the tackler, and that jarred the ball loose. I feel like if he hit the ground, it would have been down by contact. Probably not even talking about this play or anything like that, but very quickly that jump-started the momentum really, really quickly. Oklahoma State starts marching down the field. They get to a third down. Personal foul on the Sun Devils. Where have we seen this before? Extends the drive, and then all of a sudden, Oklahoma State is really moving. So a couple mistakes here and there, and it felt like the momentum really swung. A really good atmosphere, but the Sun Devils did a nice job to start the game, keeping things in control, keeping things in tempo.
I thought they started the game really well, and also, Jordan, they started the second half really well. Both the first possession of the game and the first possession of the second half, they got points. A little curious why Herm decided to run the ball so much in the second quarter. I thought it got pretty predictable, and you're not going to beat an attacking defense just running it into the teeth of that unit. That's what they did. But to ASU's credit, they could have just packed it in. It wasn't. It was a raucous crowd. It's a rainy night here in Stillwater. But they hung tough, and the one thing I want to say, Jordan, is Herm said it wasn't a moral victory. I get that, but this is a great, blueprint of the type of team they're going to see when they face Utah and USC. High level, top 10, top 12 type teams. Great learning experience for the Devils.
And it's Eastern Michigan and then those two games back-to-back, so a tough stretch here early on in the season for the Sun Devils. Another area that they struggled, 2 for 13 on third down, and I think that plays into maybe running the ball a little bit too much, a little too predictable, but they really struggled to be able to move the ball. It took them nearly 3 quarters to get their first third down conversion, so that was really telling. And I have a feeling that also played into this Oklahoma State defense just pinning their ears back on third down. There were some third and longs. Herm said that it was really first and second down that affected third down so much because they got behind the chains a couple times, really long passing downs that they had to get into, and then Oklahoma State was just able to attack.
That's it. When you're predictable, and like you said, those third and longs, that's when ASU could not protect Emory Jones. I thought Emory Jones played pretty well. He only attempted 24 passes, but when the opportunity was there, he made some plays. But you just can't get in third and long in the stadium against that defense and expect to have consistent success.
And they really limited Emory Jones on the ground. He really was not a factor. He had one nice run that got called back for a penalty, but aside from that, he really wasn't a factor on the ground. Let's look at a couple positives. Kyle Soley played out of his mind. Like 15 plus tackles, had an interception. He's leading the team in interceptions now with 2, and you can just see this seasoned vet coming in against NAU. He took care of business and made sure that they didn't have any big lapses. He goes into this raucous environment where he's played a couple of times these sorts of settings, and he just took care of business.
He had at least 10 tackles in the first half alone, and like you said, that interception was huge. The ASU front seven, like we talked about, driving from Oklahoma City up here to Stillwater, an enjoyable drive. That's really, I think, the heart and soul of this defense. I think that is where they're going to have their bread and butter is up front. And, they did a pretty good job tonight. I thought both offensively and defensively, they're pretty resilient. They could have just packed it in. They could have just said, you know what, we're down a couple scores. They came back. They showed some fight. And I learned a lot more about this team watching them tonight than what we saw last week playing NAU. This is just a great litmus test on the road.
It's an interesting pendulum swing between week 1 and week 2, where you have the FCS opponent. You're probably not going to show too much. You want it to be an uneventful night, because if it's an uneventful night, that means you just won the game and you did what you were supposed to do. Then you come to a top 15 program on the road, great environment, and that's not what you're going to be facing every week either. So now we're kind of getting a good gauge of where the Sun Devils are. One other person I want to talk about, Elijah Badger. The Sun Devils, we've talked so much about who's going to be their number one on the third and longs. Who are they going to throw the ball to? With Herm Edwards, it feels like the offenses were at their best when there was a N'Keal Harry on the roster, when there was a Brandon Ayuk. Elijah Badger had a night tonight where it felt like he's starting to put it together a little bit and might be able to be that sort of player.
We saw a lot of guys the last couple of weeks, former Sun Devils, playing for other programs, and you forget how much talent they had at that position. I thought Elijah Badger made some really nice plays. I think it was on the same drive. He had a long catch and then obviously the touchdown reception. If you're looking for someone to take control of that unit, he's the guy that has a ton of potential, and he could be the one.
Between him and Messiah Swinson could be a nice kind of pick your poison type receiver core for Emory Jones. So Sun Devils not able to get it done here in Stillwater, 34-17. They drop this one. Next week, Eastern Michigan, and then as we mentioned, Pac-12 play getting off with a bang, Utah, and then USC.